This segment of the MaxiRider video is designed to teach you how to properly operate the MaxiRider safely. These procedures should be taken seriously and never taken for granted. This video was not only created for your safety, but the safety of other hands and contractors that will be working on your rig. Always follow your company's procedures before using the MaxiRider. Ask permission and complete all necessary forms before riding the MaxiRider. A JSA is required before using the MaxiRider. The rig manager will issue you the bosun's chair or derrickman's harness and the handheld remote after you've received permission and filled out the proper paperwork to ride the MaxiRider. He will also assign a tagline operator to assist you while riding the MaxiRider. Your tagline operator is important because he will help you get fitted into the bosun's chair or derrickman's harness and clip the tagline onto your harness steering. He will also help you maneuver while riding. It is important that the tagline operator not stand directly under you, but off at an angle. Remember to follow your company's procedures prior to and while riding the MaxiRider. For example, certain drilling companies require you to use both a tagline and a secondary fall protection device. If you are required to use secondary fall protection, attach the double locking hook from the SRL into the back D-ring. Check your personal protective equipment and be absolutely certain you don't have any objects with you or in your pockets that might fall when riding the MaxiRider. When you do need to bring tools, parts, or grease guns up on the MaxiRider, they must have a safety lanyard attached to them. Inspect the bosun's chair or derrickman's harness for tears, bent fittings, and then put it on. Make sure the harness fits properly. Drape the belt for the handheld remote control over one shoulder and around your torso. And then attach the D-rings to the double-locking carabiner. Test the position of the remote and be sure you can depress the buttons easily. Before you ride the MaxiRider, you need to understand how to use the wireless handheld remote control and what each button does. All newer handheld remotes have 5 buttons, of which only 4 are needed. The first button is the top big red button, which is the emergency stop button. It is also the off button. The second button is the orange option button, which is an extra button that is not wired for use on the MaxiRider at this time. The third button is the green on button, which turns the MaxiRider on. The fourth button is the white up button, which has a black up arrow on it. The last button is the black down button with a white down arrow on it. Flip the handheld remote over and you'll see the battery pack with the batteries. It can easily be removed by pulling it up and out when you need to replace the batteries. Now that you understand how to use the handheld remote, you are ready to ride. First, turn the MaxiRider on and activate the wireless controls by pressing the green on button down for a couple seconds, then release it. Some older units require that you depress the green on button and the up or down button at the same time to start the unit moving. Press the up button and run the load line up a couple feet, then press the down button and run it down a couple feet. Position the carabiner at a height that makes it easy for you to attach it to your bosun's chair or derrickman's harness. Your tagline person will assist you and double-check that you are fitted and clipped in correctly. He will also attach his tagline to the carabiner on the back of your harness. Press the green up button and ride it up about 10 feet. Then back down to test the MaxiRider and the controls before you go to work. The MaxiRider speed is set at 35 feet per minute. This specific maximum speed was set to meet industry standards and set for your protection. Recommended practices. Here are a few good practices we recommend that will keep your MaxiRider running well. We recommend that you purchase high-quality AA batteries and keep a fresh extra pack available. When the MaxiRider is not in use, it's a good idea to remove the batteries from the back of the handheld remote. To keep from losing the battery pack, we suggest you remove the battery pack and spin it around backwards and put it back in. When it is in backwards, you will see the battery contact points facing out. Also, keep spare new batteries in stock at all times. It is a good practice, especially in colder climates, to attach the counterweight to the carabiner and run the unit halfway up and down the derrick several times a day. Exercising the unit will keep the transmission and the brakes from freezing up. Also in colder climates, it's a good practice to install a MaxiRider cap over the hoist and reel cage. The MaxiRider cap will prevent ice from building up or forming on the wire rope reel. Ice can stop the reel from rotating and prematurely trip the upper load limit sensor and disable the hoist as well. During rig transit, the MaxiRider hoist shall be removed from the stand and transported separate from the derrick. The vibration that occurs during transit can cause the receiver's internal circuit boards to break, the aluminum gear case to crack, and or the hoist mounting bolts to crack or loosen. Do not do the following. Do not lift materials or parts. The MaxiRider is a designed personnel lifting device. It shall be used to lift personnel only. Do not travel outside the derrick structure when riding the MaxiRider. If you do this, the wire rope will rub across the girders and severely damage the rope. Do not tie the carabiner to other lines tied off or random areas. Designate a point to tie the carabiner off to, like a ladder rung or a pad eye that is out of the way of workers and won't catch equipment moving up and down the derrick. Do not swing. If you need to reposition yourself, signal your tagline person to assist you. Do not spin yourself. Spinning the rope can cause the rope to build up torque and or trip the slackline sensors in the hoist. Do not jump or drop off equipment like the top drive. Sudden surges to the wire rope will shock load the rope and can cause wire rope failure. In most cases, when a shock load occurs, the block stop safety mechanism will trip and you will be suspended in the bosun's chair or derrickman's harness until someone climbs on top of the crown and manually resets the block stop switch. Never use a shackle in place of the carabiner, and always make sure the swivel is used because it prevents torque from building up in the wire rope by allowing the rope to spin on the swivel's bearings. Keep your hands, arms, feet tucked in while riding to prevent hanging yourself in the derrick bracing or other rigging hanging in the derrick. If you do get caught on something while riding, just let go of the controls which will instantaneously stop you, or click the red stop button. Never allow another person to use the handheld remote while you are riding the MaxiRider. The handheld remote is to be controlled by you, the rider, at all times. Never tamper or disassemble the MaxiRider hoist, stand, receiver box, or handheld transmitter. Emergency procedures. In the event of medical emergency, rig power failure, or other incident while riding the MaxiRider, here are the steps for getting a stranded rider down. If a rider passes out, you will need to immediately notify the rig manager and see if there is a backup handheld remote available to safely lower him down. If there isn't a backup handheld remote, a designated person will have to climb to the crown, locate the emergency descent lever, insert it into the slot in the side of the motor housing, and hold the lever down. This will manually release the brakes enough to slowly lower the rider down. While continuing to hold the emergency descent lever down, several helpers on the drill floor will need to assist by pulling on the tagline simultaneously to get the rider down. If there is a power failure and the rider is conscious, you can climb to the crown and activate the emergency descent lever and lower him down with help from several helpers by pulling on his tagline. Or, depending on the derrick size and the location of the rider on the derrick, you can have the tagline operator gently swing the rider over to the ladder so he can climb down the ladder. For questions on the operation of the MaxiRider, contact BLP Services.